Greg Locke got political in a sermon recently, and he got in a lot of trouble with the IRS over it. He was mass reported by a bunch of TikTokers, by a bunch of people, because MSNBC reported on it and everything.
I'm to the place right now, if you vote Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out. You can get out, you demon. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. They are God-denying demons.
I've already talked about that a couple of times. What I want to do is I want to talk about all of the other stuff that was in those sermons, because that wasn't even close to the strangest thing that he had to say. So let's take a look at this first clip. This one was from May 15th. This is the same video in which he said that Democrats are evil. You can't be Christian and Democrat. You can't blah, 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 all that stuff. Let's watch the first clip from him. He went on a full-blown tirade of propaganda. Check this out.
You know, we started calling out witches a few months ago and everybody said it was crazy. Now McDonald's talking about witches.
Spoiler alert, McDonald's is not talking about witches. I'll just tell you that up front.
Now McDonald's talking about witches. Give them out tarot cards and Happy Meals.
Okay, I don't know what he's talking about with the tarot cards and McDonald's thing. I feel like he's saying it with such confidence that I had to look into it, right? So I looked into it, and as far as I could tell, the only source reporting on it seemed to be a USA Today article. Literally nobody else is talking about this. I haven't seen a word about it anywhere, but I think this is one of those things that's spreading around Christian circles like wildfire. This is the result of fire hose propaganda. They send out all of these propagandistic claims through every medium they can. Fox News, newspaper editorials, Facebook, Twitter, everything they can, Telegram channels, and they see which ones stick. And it seems to me that Greg Locke has latched on to this claim that McDonald's is sending tarot cards out in their Happy Meals. Why would McDonald's do that? First of all, I instantly doubted the claim. But again, he's so confident, I'm like hesitant to say this is nonsense.
Stirring the cauldron's pot, right? Now Disney talking about witches.
Disney has always talked about witches. The earliest movies that they've produced had witches in them. Didn't Snow White have witches in it? I feel like it did.
Of course, they always been full of witchcraft. You know what I had to give up on? Man, it's hurt my feelings. I had to give up on the Avengers.
So this is deeply sad. I saw this with Jehovah's Witnesses all the time. They will find some little thing about everything, some little reason to isolate themselves from it. I wrote another point into the BITE model that I called placing a high level of importance on seemingly trivial events or ideas. Like Jehovah's Witnesses, for example, they won't celebrate Christmas because there's some supposed link to paganism that goes back like thousands of years or something like that. It's just fun. People are just having fun. They're just enjoying it. They're just giving gifts out and having a good time. That's it. You don't have to find these bizarre links to all these little evil things. If you dig far enough, if you dig hard enough, you will find a link to paganism, whatever that means, in literally everything. You can route it back to paganism in nearly any situation you want. And that's what Greg Locke is doing. This is one of the hallmarks that shows me that somebody is going down a path of extremism. Greg Locke went down that path a long time ago, but this is evidence that he's going even deeper into extremism. He gave up the Avengers because of some perceived grievance, some spiritual wrong. So what was it? What did they do?
Man, I like them suckers, but I couldn't even watch the whole trailer for the new one because it's got a witch sitting in a pentagram burning candles to the devil. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, Greg Locke's church believes in witches. Oh, Hollywood does too. They just want them to seem nice and kind and cool. And
see, it's a conspiracy. Once again, it's all a conspiracy. They're conspiring to rope you into satanic worship or whatever else. Again, the guy's a QAnoner. The guy believes that there's a cabal out there that's trying to trick you into doing all this bizarre stuff. It's just nonsense. Anyway, the point is the guy has thrown himself down a rabbit hole, and it's truly deeply sad. It is truly deeply sad to see. Out of curiosity, is there any basis to this? I've never seen the Avengers. Is there a basis to this pentagram and witch or whatever? Is this actually in a trailer? And what was the context on that? I totally unfamiliar with the whole thing. Yes, Scarlet Witch. Oh, the Scarlet Witch character. Okay, I've never heard of the Scarlet Witch. Interesting. Is it actual witchcraft? That's weird. Yes, but she was the villain. Well, it sounds like it would be right up Greg Locke's alley, right? I guess the character he's talking about is the Scarlet Witch. Totally unfamiliar with the Avengers, but my chat in the live stream is telling me about it here. The Scarlet Witch is the villain. It seems like Greg Locke would totally relate to this storyline, right? If they're trying to destroy witches or whatever. Doctor Strange in the Metaverse of Madness has sorcery, mystical arts, and magic, apparently. Yeah, that's true. I guess he selectively chooses to not like certain things and like other things. I don't know, dude. Greg Locke is just an extremist, plain and simple, and he looks for any reason he possibly can to hate and demonize something, to avoid it, because he doesn't want witchcraft in any part of his life. It's really sad, dude. Just enjoy the Avengers. Just enjoy it. It's there for your entertainment. This is part of the process of isolating yourself from society. That's what's happening right now. He is isolating himself further and further and further. Here's another interesting clip from Greg Locke. Same sermon. This is May 15th when he talked about how evil Democrats are or whatever. Listen to this.
This nation's run by whoremongers. Trashy people involved in...
No. This is his QAnon roots coming out. What he's doing here is showing us how deep of a QAnoner he really is. That's just conspiracy theory stuff, man.
Half the churches in America ain't no better.
Agreed. I feel I can agree with that, at least to some degree.
Bunch of panty-wearing preachers won't get up and say what needs to be said.
That's like one of his new favorite phrases, isn't it? Panty-wearing preachers. What a weird thing to say, dude.
Limp-wristed. I don't want to offend anybody.
You know, did you ever consider the possibility that maybe these pastors aren't trying to avoid offending people? They just don't believe like you. Do you ever consider that? Maybe these pastors just aren't extremists, and that's why they aren't coming out here and screaming about the LGBTQ community or any of the myriad of other things that you scream about on a regular basis. Maybe it's not they're afraid to offend people. Maybe they're just not bad people in their hearts. You ever consider that? Maybe you're just a bad person in your heart, and that's why you talk about these issues. No, it has to be. Everyone else is weak. Everyone else is afraid. I'm the only man that'll come out here and say what needs to be said because I'm not afraid of being shut down. Millionaire Greg Locke says he's not afraid of being shut down. Right. Okay.
I ain't let them have my kids. I don't care about their LGBTQ agenda. I don't care about it.
Equality? You don't care about equality? Is that what we're talking about?
Cut me off, Zuckerberg. I don't care. I ain't giving it. I ain't calling you by your proper pronoun.
Isn't Zuckerberg the Facebook guy? Isn't he just he, him? Doesn't he go by he, him? Zuckerberg isn't trans, is he? You're not going to call him him? What are you going to call him? I don't think he's non-binary. You're going to use the wrong pronoun for Mark Zuckerberg? You're going to call him they or she? Anyways, needless to say, this whole series of clips was weird, but it gets weirder. We haven't even gotten to the weird part yet. This is the hidden gem of the sermon. This is about the World Health Organization. Listen to this.
So when all the witches get loosed and all the gas prices go up and all the stores start folding and people start losing their businesses and...
By the way, he thinks the Democrats are intentionally going to make all of this stuff happen. They're setting out to make stores close up and make gas prices shoot through the roof and all of that other stuff. He believes this is happening intentionally.
And guess what's going to happen on May 22nd? You just didn't hear about it because Biden don't want you to.
What he's about to say is nonsense. It's a conspiracy theory, and there's absolutely no evidence of this. None. I looked this up when I heard about it, and I couldn't find a thing about it. Listen to this.
They've given full authority to the World Health Organization. Matter of fact, it's funny that the video's in Chinese.
Okay, there's no language called Chinese. Do you mean Mandarin or Cantonese? And who translated this supposed video? Have you actually seen it? Can you send it to me? Because I'm not 100% sure I trust the translator. Do you trust the translator by default? That's kind of weird. Do you know somebody that speaks Chinese as a language that can translate it for you, like a friend? I'd be willing to bet this video that he's talking about doesn't even exist, honestly. He has already multiple times come out in the past and claimed to have seen videos that were debunked. They didn't exist. It's not that they were faked. They just weren't real in the first place.
Some of the most well-known, corrupted, evil politicians you know are full-blown devil worshippers. I've seen videos that'll make you sick. When I tell you that Hillary Clinton is a high priestess in the Satanic Church, I wish to God she'd sue me over it. I've seen the video footage.
So I'm hesitant to believe this video is real either, but let's continue.
Matter of fact, it's funny that the video's in Chinese. They know who owns us. And now the World Health Organization has the power to take over the sovereignty of the United States of America and shut down anytime, anywhere they so choose.
You telling me, again, no evidence of this. I've looked all over the place for this. Nobody is reporting on it. Nobody. Reuters, AP News, even Fox News. I haven't seen anything from anybody at all.
I dare you to come up in this tent, try to shut us down with your fake pandemic bullcrap nonsense. Try to shut this church down. You hear me?
Greg Locke likes to come out here, puff out his chest, and claim that he's going to meet you at the door with his Second Amendment right if you try to take down his First Amendment right. That's like one of his favorite sayings. I guess it's just his way of threatening violence without actually threatening violence, you know, without doing it overtly or whatever. He does this kind of thing intentionally. He knows what he's doing.
You hear me? Try to shut up. We ain't ever shutting down World Health Organization. We ain't shutting down this church. We gonna stay open 24 hours a day.
Yeah, nobody asked you to shut down, Greg. What are you even talking about right now?
4 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we don't give two flips of a wooden nickel about what you or your mama says about it, you Chinese-loving devil.
Just so many levels of wrong, I don't even know where to start with it. Nobody asked him to shut down. Nobody asked him to. He's just getting his audience wound up into a blood frenzy over nothing. This is how fear-mongering works. This is how propaganda works. This is what you do when you want people to get emotional and take some serious action, some action of some sort. This is how you do it, right here. Fear-mongering and propaganda. Matter of fact, Fox News has been doing it this way for decades. It's been getting significantly worse, and there are a lot more people coming out of the woodwork like this, doing this kind of thing, following the Fox News pattern, but they did it first, or they've been doing it the longest at this point, I think. So that one was May 15th. That was from the sermon he gave about Democrats being evil and all this other stuff. Remember, the claim was May 22nd, the World Health Organization was going to sign something or other that's going to allow them to take control of the U.S. government, apparently, right? Well, May 22nd, the following week, Greg Locke comes out and doubles down on it. No joke, doubles down. Listen to this.
Last week, the news media said that I was a QAnon conspiracy theorist nut job.
You are. You absolutely are, and I can establish that in a minute. You know what? I'll establish that now because it links back to the previous clip. You guys know Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn is a retired U.S. general. He pleaded guilty to lying about contact with Russia, basically. And he was also acting as a foreign agent for Turkey without telling anybody about it, without filing that with the government or whatever else. He was acting as a foreign agent on behalf of Turkey with the U.S. government, basically. So, anyway, he got in a lot of trouble. He got charged, but was pardoned by Donald Trump at the last minute. Around the time all this stuff is happening, Michael Flynn sees the QAnon movement, like, basically taking off, right? And he goes out there and decides to do, and I have to be careful about the words I use here because he likes to sue people. He's sued CNN for some of the accusations they leveled against him and stuff like that. So he came out here and did an oath that is also commonly done by members of QAnon that call themselves digital soldiers. Listen to this.
I, Jack Flynn, do do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all.
God bless.
Yeah, he says God bless America at the end. The where we go one, we go all bit, that's from like a movie from the 1990s or the 80s or something. QAnon picked up on that and ran with it. They love that saying. That's how you know that somebody is dog whistling to QAnon. Not even a dog whistle, calling out to them. WWG1WGA, I believe, is the abbreviation, the hashtag, whatever. Where we go one, we go all. That's what it stands for. And that is a sign that somebody is QAnon. Now, maybe he heard the phrase and liked it. That's what he told everybody else. CNN says he's repeating QAnon phrases. The guy's gone full QAnon, and he sues them for defamation or whatever. Anyways, I have to be careful about the words I use. This is a QAnon oath that he took. He even included where we go one, we go all at the end. So he's a massive QAnon figure, extremely influential and well-known and loved in the QAnon movement, basically. After that, now he went out there and tried to influence the QAnon movement and largely succeeded. A lot of really, really famous QAnon interpreters talk about him and all of their interpretations, involve him in all of them, and consider him to be one of the operatives that is like one of the good guys in the government that's trying to finagle things in the way that Q wants them to be finagled or whatever. This is Dave Hayes, also known as the Praying Medic, referring back to an interview that Michael Flynn did where he said some stuff about the storm. Listen to this.
Some people have heard the interview with General Flynn, where General Flynn said that there is no plan for the military to step in. I was listening to Monkey Works, and he interviewed a guy a couple days ago, and that guy also said there is no plan for the military to step in and do anything.
Flynn is basically trying to encourage QAnon members to do something themselves. The claim is that the storm is going to take place and all the people who deserve to be tried in military tribunals are going to be, blah, blah, blah.
Is the United States military running the country or just is that nonsense as well?
More nonsense.
Good to hear.
More nonsense. There's no plan. There's so many people out there. Is the plan happening? We have what we have, and we have to accept the situation as it is.
Flynn wants the QAnoners to get riled up now, themselves. They need to do something. That's the point. That's what Flynn was trying to communicate. So now QAnon interpreters are going around trying to interpret what Flynn was saying, like figure out why. Why would he say this? We have to do something?
Well, I would like to suggest an alternative viewpoint on that.
Please.
If the military had a plan to intervene in American politics, and General Flynn was aware of it, I guarantee you he wouldn't tell anybody what he knew publicly for operational security.
Yeah, so all the QAnon interpreters went out there and said Flynn is just trying to be secretive and cover things up. Anyway, here's where it relates back to Greg Locke. Greg Locke is Michael Flynn's pastor. He's Michael Flynn's pastor. He calls him like every week, and he does sermons or whatever for an hour a week or 2 hours a week or something like that. No joke. That's why I say Greg Locke is QAnon, because he's constantly repeating QAnon talking points, coming up with new ones that I hadn't heard before. I suspect Flynn is coming up with these propaganda techniques, these propagandistic claims, telling them to Greg Locke and expecting Locke to go out there and spread them to his audience. And that's what he's doing. He came out here and said the WHO controls the United States government as of May 22nd or whatever. What? I've never heard that before. I haven't found a trace of that anywhere on the internet. Maybe I'm just not in the right QAnon forums, but I'm in some of them, and I haven't seen that pop up anywhere up until Greg Locke started talking about it. So anyways, that's my suspicion. I don't know this for a fact. It just seems reasonable to me to think that Michael Flynn is spreading new QAnon propaganda through Greg Locke, trying to propagate it through him, basically. So anyway, that's my case for Greg Locke being a member of QAnon. Let's keep listening.
Last week, the news media said that I was a QAnon conspiracy theorist nut job because I said something about our sovereignty being surrendered to the World Health Organization. I wish they'd fact check me right now.
There's nothing to fact check. It was nonsense then. It's nonsense now. It's not happening.
Because you know what today is? What's today's date? Somebody tell me.
May 22nd is when this came out, and that's when he claimed it was happening.
Yeah, you know what starts today? Today through Tuesday is the signing of the agreement whereby we begin to surrender our states' rights and our national security and sovereignty over to the World Health Organization. If you don't think it's happening, you've lost your mind. I've talked on the phone to the people that have been in the room and know that it's happening.
There you go. I think who he's talking about is Michael Flynn. As far as I know, Michael Flynn's not involved in any of this stuff anymore, especially since he was charged with all this stuff, you know, lying about Russia, blah, 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 and then getting pardoned. He's retired. He's just not involved anymore. So anyway, that's who I think he's talking about here.
On the phone to the people that have been in the room and know that it's happening.
You have to give me a little more evidence than I know somebody who knows somebody who said so. I'm just not going to accept it. I'm sorry. Nobody should.
But the Biden administration don't want you to know. They just want to push it through in the middle of the night. And then when it all goes to hell, blame Trump for it.
If there's one thing that I've seen, a consistent pattern in the U.S. government, especially with U.S. presidents, they never limit their own power. Never. U.S. presidents have been doing nothing but expanding their own power for decades. Same with every other governmental body. Congress, the Supreme Court, everybody always tries to expand their own power. It's a problem, honestly. But why would Biden cede power to another organization, the World Health Organization? It's just nonsense at its face. It doesn't make any sense. Why would anybody do that? Like, they can just take the advice of the WHO. They don't have to let the WHO control the U.S. government. They can just take their advice. It's just nonsense.
They have begun agreements right now to take away our sovereignty as a nation so that when the World Health Organization declares an emergency, we are automatically under the dictator, communistic rulership of the World Health Organization. And anybody that tells you I'm lying has never paid any attention to what is coming out of their mouth right now.
I just want some evidence. That's all I'm asking for, man. I'm not asking for any crazy thing. I feel like asking for evidence is reasonable, and you haven't provided it. I can't find anything about this anywhere. Couldn't find it on AP, NPR, Reuters. Those are the most unbiased, reasonable organizations I can find. And matter of fact, I can't find them on Newsmax or Fox or anything at all. I can't find it anywhere. You are the only one that's saying this stuff as far as I can tell. Kind of weird that you have somebody revered as like the king of QAnon as one of your church members. And interestingly enough, you keep coming up with new QAnon conspiracy theories out of nowhere. Weird, right? Like, what are the chances?
It starts today. Starts today. And if states do not individually stand up and push back from the top down, it don't get no more military top than what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the military top technically is Joe Biden. He is the commander-in-chief. He controls the military in every way. So are you saying that, like, the top of the military needs to, I mean, under Biden, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I guess, need to come out and do something about it? Like, what are you getting at here, Locke? This is really concerning rhetoric, really concerning stuff.
On speakerphone, if I'm lying, I'm dying. God strike me dead on this platform.
Wow, that's daring. If I'm lying, may God strike me down on this platform. Well, I'll tell you what. I have a secret. I've been hiding this secret for a long time, and I've decided to come out and tell you guys now. I don't know why I picked tonight, but I'm doing it. Owen Morgan isn't my real name. My real name is Finley Manergalbergal. If I'm lying, I'm dying. God, strike me dead in this chair right now with lightning. Do it. Do it, God. If you're real and I'm lying about my name being Finley Manergalbergal, strike me down right now, please. I want to come to heaven and spend the rest of eternity with you, God. Or with Satan, whoever you think I should go to. Whatever. Strike me down. Come on, you real? Strike me. I'm waiting. Nothing? Okay. Are you a or something? What happened? What happened, God? I guess my name is Finley Manergalbergal now. See how that works, Locke? You can lie about anything you want and tell God to strike you dead right then and there, and nothing happens. How about that?
He said, if our state's attorney generals do not stand up and push back about what's going to happen over the next 3 days, America will effectively be lost forever.
Okay, wow. This sounds like the kind of rhetoric I heard coming from Chuck Norris back in 2011, I think, and Roger Stone recently. They said, Chuck Norris said this in 2011, I think, if Obama wins, our country will be plunged into 1,000 years of darkness. Wow, I guess that fell flat, didn't it? Roger Stone said something similar. If we don't beat the evil Democrat cabal or whatever, our country will be plunged into 1,000 years of darkness. What was it that Greg Locke just said?
Will effectively be lost forever.
Our country will be lost forever. Interesting. Okay. Well, first you're going to have to prove that this even happened in the first place. And next you're going to have to explain how it's going to lose our country forever in specific terms. You hear that? Wake up. Somebody said wake up right at the end. Wow. Wake up, sheeple. Sheeple is one of my favorite words in the whole world. I love it to death. I think it's such a funny word. It's sad he didn't use sheeple just now.
Be lost forever.
Love it. He knows his audience. If that doesn't scare you enough, though, I have one final clip for you. Listen to this one.
By the way, this crowd going crazy. I told my wife the other day, I said, y'all better be careful. I'll run for president. Yeah, y'all be careful. Push my buttons. We'll have a pastor president up in that White House. We'll clean that sucker out. What we.
You know, honestly, I think he has absolutely no chance whatsoever. But I said the same thing about Donald Trump for a while in the primaries. So I don't underestimate anybody ever anymore. Like, I wouldn't put it past the Republican Party to vote for somebody like Greg Locke. He is the quintessential QAnon candidate. So take that for what you will. Don't underestimate anybody, ever.
In that White House, we'll clean that sucker out. What we'll do. We'll shut it down. Give the nation back to the people. So y'all keep on. Say, are you declaring your candidacy right now? No, I'm just talking right now. Somebody said he ain't got a chance in the world to get the president of the United States. We in every newspaper on the planet right now. And we at least could get, a few million votes out of it.
So here's the question. Do you think he's serious? Do you think that he seriously intends to run for president in 2024? He went on for a while after this. He's at least reasonably serious. He says, no, I'm just joking at the end of it. But still, you never know with these people. You never know. In my opinion, I don't think he's serious. I think this is a ploy to try to get the media off his back. In my opinion, because he says right there at the end, we're in every newspaper across the planet or something.
Somebody said he ain't got a chance in the world to get the president of the United States. We in every newspaper on the planet right now.
See, I think this is just a ploy to get the media off his back. That's my opinion. What do you think? Is he serious? Like I said, if he is, don't underestimate anybody. Nobody. We learned that lesson in 2016.